absolute security. So any organization that you work with, they need to kind of, if they have security specific mindset, so they need to kind of move from no security to an acceptable security that will kind of definitely protect their organization. and and the trend, their objectives would be achieving the absolute security, which can't be obviously kind of achieved every time, but we should be kind of opting out towards that trend, like moving from no security to absolute security. So remember this kind of big picture in mind for now. Okay. And one of the important thing I like to discuss is that, as I told previously, on any organization doesn't exist just for being secure. Okay. We are just one team in the hundreds of team of the company. Our objective is to protect the company, but the company is not just existing for security. They, let's say one of the company, let's name it Ola, the cab. Okay. So the main objective why they stay is to provide cab services to the Indian customers. Okay, so this is their main goal, and they don't exist to be secure. They exist to kind of provide this kind of services to the Indian customer. Okay, so this is something we need to kind of accept as soon as possible in our career, that we are one of the team in our company and we have a specific role to play for our organization. Okay, so sorry for that. So uh, so now one of the thing is that I like to say is that where is the security is on the priority list. So let's say uh, you have a let's say there are different organizations. Let's say we say government. Okay, government. Then we have uh, let's say startup companies, and so thing is that the government will have security. They will treat security at the highest level. They will take these things into more kind of, and what to say, with a higher consideration, that security is as more at most needed for them, because if they don't apply security in their architecture, they will lose, they will have a major impact. They will face major attack on their organization. They can kind of, it can leak the data that they are handling for their people. Okay, so that's where the cyber security will be much more kind of considered. But in the case of the startup companies, they won't be at the early stage. They won't be taking care of the security from their end. They will be more motivated to providing the services to their customer as soon as possible and grabbing more customer. So we need to know where we work for, and we need to accept, okay, when we work for a startup company, this is how the security will be treated. It will be treated with less importance. If you work for a good company, like where who cares about kind of giving training to their employees, who cares about purchasing more automated tools, hiring more resources for the SOC, so their security will be much more kind of taken into consideration. And if we work for a government organization, their security will be kind of considered with the highest consideration as much as possible. Okay, so the thing is that a mature security like us, we understand this thing. We need to understand this thing, like how we work for, whom we work for, and what are their main goals. Okay, so this is what uh, explain how mature is the cybersecurity of any company. So they understand everything going on. They don't just concentrate on the technical part, but they also understand how the funds are coming, what's the mindset of the leadership regarding their team or not. So let's discuss a bit more about this risk appetite, organizational risk appetite. So one of the key item that should be made clear through the steering committee is the organizational risk appetite. Everyone in the SOC should understand well what the business view as its biggest, and what are the biggest risks that business is facing. Now, how to translate, how to kind of approach and address that risk from a security point of view. So thing is that the blue team job is to take this information as an input and work within or inform management when the risk has been also kind of misjudged, so that proper adjustment can be made. So what I mean is that if as a company we are working for and we have highlighted, okay, we have 100 different kind of risk exposed, and we have kind of made, so let's say we have 100 kind of risk, and we have allocated certain priority to those risks, like which risks should be kind of addressed. One of the other common objective, one of the common tasks of the SOC team also is that we also need to make our leadership understand in a regular manner that, let's say, the risk that has been kind of allocated at the highest level, it is not, is it correct or not, or should we kind of adjust those values, and should we increase the risk value for certain low risk that has been kind of handled, which has been kind of told by the leadership guys, should we recalculate the risk. So this is again one of the job of the SOC team, that they need to kind of help out their leadership team. Okay, so thing is that keeping a finger on the kind of pulse of the current organization thinking is one of the most important things that blue team must do. Some organizations actually keep a formalized risk appetite statement where they, on a regular basis, kind of maintain the amount of risk that they are taking, or what are the risks that they know about, which their company is exposed to. So they have a official document which they maintain. Security team closely work with that team and regularly update that risk statement. Okay, because that risk actually steers the SOC team, like where the SOC team should devote their more resources to. So this is a little bit kind of an introduction about the risk. Okay, and we also need to kind of also understand the nature of the business we work for. Okay, so how damage how much damage will be there if a breach occur to our license. So we need to understand that. So let's say if any person is working in the SOC team for a startup company which has just started in few months, so we need to understand how severe will be a breach for them. So the severity will be quite less, because even if they few the systems are attacked, the data that they will have is very limited. They will have very limited details of their customer. In that case, the damage will be pretty less. So that we need to understand. We also need to understand if a breach occurred, how worse it could happen. What's the worst case scenario we are looking at? So for the solar wind case, we need to understand over here two things: how damaging that breach can happen for us, and what's the worst case scenario. So worst case scenario over here will be for the solar wind case is that we need to understand is that the attacker will have the full foothold of the system. Okay, and even it not just the full foothold of the system, it will also create media issue for the company, because what the attacker can do is they can make all the data that they have kind of expelled out to the public, and once they make that thing out to the public, our customers or our client will lose trust on us. Okay, and they will start not using our product. So this is the same thing that happened with the solar wind. So once this solar wind happened, I have seen, like, okay, there were, let's say there were 1,000 clients of solar wind, and once this attack happened, and once it was known in public how bad their security team worked, how bad they were in the detection phase at the early stages, they actually lost almost, let's say, 900 of their clients out of 1,000. And it was almost like they were on the verge of kind of getting closed. So we need to kind of understand what's the damage that breach can occur to our company, and what can be the worst case scenario. And based on that, we need to kind of allocate resource or kind of handle any alert with kind of more alertness. Okay, so one of the driving item informing the SOC charter and steering committee will be our organization risk. It is so consider the question above. So although ideally this information will be handled kind of uh, so there are few things to discuss, that is like high security and low security. Okay, so in any organization, the high security will mean that, okay, we have network host in place, we do host isolation properly, we have a strict email attachment policy, we do the whitelisting. Let's say we only allow certain IP address to communicate with outside network. So these are some of the things that a high security environment will look like. And how a low security environment will look like is that there is just like antivirus installed on the system, and that all the security of that systems are managed by the antivirus. So if any new virus comes up, in that case, the antivirus won't be able to detect, and the company will be kind of facing a major breach. So these are few things like high security and low security. And our goal over here is to always kind of go from low security or no security